Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame Lexi's college golf cart in Carta.
Is that like Dexy's Midnight Runner?
I never heard of that, but maybe, I'm not sure.
They're a band that sing, what is it? Come on, Eileen, to ride. Yes. Yep. Anyways, so yeah, Lexi's college golf cart actually would be a good name for a band.
Yeah, no, it is actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I've got to write that down. I've got a whole list of, well, my file is called album titles, but it could just be bands or song titles as well.
Yeah.
But that I'm going to add that to it. I have a list of about like 40 points. Oh,
nice. If you guys have any that you think would be good, send them to me at mike@cullenpark.com and I'll spread the word to Sesame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today, folks, in this modern hellscape we call Earth. And
yep, today's Earth Day. As we're recording.
Yes, it is. Taking time out of your day to listen to us while the world burns around you. And wait,
thank you.
If only we had a hero to save us.
Yeah, if only we had a boy hero who could save us.
Yes, a guy in college who goes by the name Superboy. An adult in college.
Yeah, but people say,
they're
boy,
kids.
Like,
yeah, but still,
it'd be weird. It's a weird thing to self-identify as. Like, it's one thing if other people call you it and you can't shake the name, but you yourself are just going along with it. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Like when you're in college, you think you want to be and seem to be more independent or more, adulty. That's not really a word, but
yeah.
Adult. But no, he just runs with it or flies with it rather.
Yeah. So yeah, and the show ran from it's called Superboy, also renamed after the first season as The Adventures of Superboy. It ran from 1988 to 1992 in syndication, which means that it wasn't on like a major network or a cable channel. It was one of those things that you would find on like a UHF channel, on like usually on like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon or something, like after an episode of Hercules or something,
Yeah, Hercules, that's a great actor too.
Or like an episode of Charles in Charge, or some other episode that starred a future Trump supporter. Anyways, the oh boy. Anyways, so the reason that it's Superboy and not Superman for the series. The reason that it was conceived this way is okay. So the Christopher Reeve Superman movies from like 78 until the mid 80s, and the Supergirl movie, they were produced by Alexander and Ilya Salkind, a father and son duo. So they had the rights to produce live action versions of Superman for years, and then they sold the rights to the Cannon Group for the fourth Superman movie that we've covered in the past on this podcast. So that was not produced by them; it was produced by the Cannon Group, and so they no longer had the rights to Superman, but they still had the rights to the license to Superboy and Supergirl. So that's why they made a film based on Supergirl at one point. So in the mid 80s, they decided to try again with Superboy and developed a series for syndication that launched in the fall of 1998. I mean, 88. Not 98, 1988. Yeah, so it was about a younger Clark Kent, and yeah, they couldn't call him Superman, so they had to call him Superboy because they had the rights to that. At that point, in the comic books that were out, there was no Superboy comic book either at that point. So,
oh, interesting. Okay, I was thinking Superboy was a different character, not Clark Kent. He is
now. Currently, he is. What they did is in the past, Superboy was just a comic book about the younger adventures of Superman. Usually, like his time in Smallville and stuff like that. Okay. Not him in college.
For some reason, I was under the impression that Superboy was like a nephew or a cousin or something like that. Clark, I feel why.
So with Superboy, because there's Superboy is several different characters. He's Kal-El, which is the one that grows up to be Superman. Superboy is a Superman in his preteen and teenage years. Most of his adventures take place in the fictional town of Smallville. There is also another current version, I guess, because this version of Superboy kind of I don't know if they brought him back at all ever, but he kind of ended in the 80s. So, and then they brought the superhero named Superboy back for several different characters have had the name over the years. So basically we had the original, who was Kal-El. Then we had Superboy, who was Con-El from 94 to 2000. He was a clone of Superman who was younger. I guess. So he guess he ended up living with the Kents in Smallville with Martha and Jonathan Kent, where he adopted the secret identity as their nephew and Clark's cousin Connor Kent.
Oh, okay.
We got Kal-El, we got Con-El. Then we have John Lane Kent, who is the son of Clark and Lois.
Okay.
He was a Superboy as well. Yeah. So, and then there's Jonathan Kent, who is the current, the current Superboy. Kent became the new Superboy in DC Comics. He was introduced as the son of post-crisis Superman, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane. So yeah. He's often paired with Robin Damian Wayne, who is Bruce Wayne's son. So yeah. So okay.
I was just thinking of this video game I used to play a lot when I was a kid for Super Nintendo, where you got to play as Superboy. I think some other characters too, but he was one I liked a lot the most because he punched really hard and stuff. I wish I could remember the name of the game. It was DC Heroes or something like that. It was really fun. It was like a beat 'em up punch game. Nothing really too fancy about it, but it was kind of cool.
So this TV series, going to give a little bit of history of it, and then we can get into the actual plot of the episode that we're covering, which was actually not the pilot episode, but it was the first one aired, which
do that a lot.
We can get into that a little bit, and then I'll get into some trivia after that. Okay, the name of the episode is The Jewel of Techacal. Techacal? Techacal. Techacal, I guess. The short synopsis here on the Internet Movie Database is Lana's father, that's Lana Lang, Clark's, friend from Smallville, and love interest in certain stories here and there. Lana's father, an archaeologist, comes to the university with what he thinks is a cursed relic. Lex Luthor then steals the jewel in order to sell it to the highest bidder. This was directed by Reza Badawi, who directed a bunch of TV shows like Dinosaurs, Jake and the Fat Man, Cagney and Lacey, Fame, TJ Hooker, Starsky and Hutch, $6 Million Man, as well as In the Heat of the Night, Models Inc., Baywatch Nights, Baywatch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, She Spies, Early Edition, Sliders, different things like that. Okay. So a lot of TV. He passed away in 2011 at the age of 82. This was written based on the character created by Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. It was written by Fred Freiberger, who passed away in 2003. He is known as a writer for other TV shows like The Dukes of Hazzard, Vegas, The $6 Million Man, Space 1999, and so on. So yeah, basically TV dudes. The episode stars John Newton as Superboy, aka Clark Kent, Stacy Haiduk as Lana Lang, James Calvert as TJ White, Peter White as Professor Thomas Lang, Scott Wells as Lex Luthor, Michael Mano as Leo, Greg Todd Davis as Gerald Haynes, Forrest Neal as Dean Thompson, and so on. Yeah. So yeah, that's the little breakdown here. Some trivia here behind the actual TV series before we get into the plot, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so after the first season, John Newton was fired due to his arrest for a DUI. Newton's contract had a morals clause. However, it was reported that the producers were not happy with his performance. In addition, that he tried to renegotiate a 20% increase on his salary. They decided to recast the part, and Gerard Christopher was chosen for the rest of the series, which ran 4 seasons. Gerard Christopher, by the way, when he took over the role, was 30 years old, playing Superboy.
Like a college student.
Yeah, making him older than Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill, and Tyler Hoechlin when they first made their respective debuts as Superman.
Wow.
So he was older than all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gerard Christopher, maybe someday we'll get into maybe we'll review a season 2 or 3 or 4 episode with Gerard Christopher just to, see the difference. Gerard Christopher personally sold VHS tapes and DVDs of the episodes on his website. Christopher owns the master tapes of all the episodes in which he portrayed Superboy. Christopher stopped selling them when Warner Brothers acquired the rights and released official DVD sets. So you can get the DVDs for the show. So,
that's so sad. They have a website. Yeah. We're just selling best tapes.
Yeah, well, any way to make a buck, in my opinion. I mean, go for it. Stacy Haiduk was the only first season regular cast member to be retained for the rest of the series. So the show ended up being canceled after a lawsuit filed by Warner Brothers against the Salkinds, who had leased the rights in the early 70s and made the Superman film series. The Salkinds produced the first 3 films and sold the rights to the Cannon Golden Globus production, who released Superman for The Quest for Peace. WB claimed that they had first shot at making a series. The show was distributed through Viacom and not Warner Brothers. The case was settled, and the rights officially reverted to Warner Brothers, and the show has not been rerun in North America since, although a DVD release of the first season did occur in 2006, and then the rest of the series followed afterwards. Wow. The first 2 seasons were set at Schuster University, and the school building was called the Siegel Center, named after Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, the creators of Superman. This was the first weekly series to be produced at the then new Disney MGM Studios in Orlando, Florida. For the second season, the series moved several miles down the Interstate 4 to Universal Studios, Florida, to film the rest of the series. According to producer... Oh, never mind. I already said that. By the time the series was produced, Superboy had been nullified from the DC. A Superboy, Con-El, later appeared after the series had been canceled, but was not the same person as Superman in the current continuity, as we've talked about already.
Yeah.
As of 2021, Stacy Haiduk, is the last actress to portray Lana Lang as a redhead. Her most common depictions in comics. Kristen Crook portrayed the character as a brunette in Smallville, followed by Jaden Gould and Emily Prentice in the DC extended universe. And Emmanuelle Shrieky played her in Superman and Lois with dark hair as well. After the first season, this is not in the trivia, but they also recast Lex Luthor. He wasn't Lex Luthor was like a guest star in the show. He wasn't like one of the main characters anyways. they recast Scott Wells with Sherman Howard, and he later auditioned to play the same character in an animated form in Superman the Animated Series. However, Clancy Brown was ultimately cast in the role. So yeah, they do explain in the series why he looks different, though, luckily, but they never explain why Clark Kent's Superman looks different. But Lex has plastic surgery to change the way he looks and stuff. Yeah. So, what are your initial thoughts of this episode we watched?
I did not like it.
Yeah, me either.
I don't really think there's any redeeming qualities other than just the bad acting is kind of endearing in a way.
Yeah, I hope it got better. I don't know. I'm gonna watch like a second season episode. I mean, obviously they recast John Newton as Superboy partially because he wasn't really doing it for the producers, So it's. Yeah. I mean, and I will say that Stacy Haiduk did do a decent job acting compared to some of the other people, and she's the only person to stay with the series for the whole run. So yeah. I watched this episode twice, and I still had no idea really what was going on half the time. But
there's nothing really. That's the thing. There's a whole lot of nothing going on in the episode.
It's really weird too for like an action-based series to be a half hour.
Yeah.
Because when you think of like superhero TV series, you think of like, I don't know, like The Flash with John Wesley Shipp, which was an hour long, or you think of the Arrowverse shows and those were hour longs. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's an animated series, for it to be a half hour is kind of weird. Yeah. And even just like action TV series in general, like even I'm pretty sure like Hercules and Xena and stuff like that, those were hour long series and stuff like that were in syndication around the same era, maybe a few years later or whatever, but still.
Because with commercials, it's only about 21 minutes long. You can't really do much with that. And the Flash's pilot episode, the one with John Wesley Shipp, that was about an hour and a half. The pilot episode was the length of a movie, which I really need to get a new DVD player because I was only able to watch the first two episodes of the one and only season of that Flash before my Blu-ray player just broke down. So I saw that one, the second episode, and that was like 6 years ago, and I haven't bothered.
You can get them pretty cheap. I need to buy that series on DVD or Blu-ray, anyways, because I think that'd be cool to own. So what goes down in this episode?
Nothing. That's the thing. This woman's dad, he's like some archeologist dude. He ends up taking a job at the college that his daughter goes to because he's always complained that he never spends enough time with her. And so he's like, okay, maybe this will pacify her a little bit, but it didn't. Got mad at him anyway for some reason. And then she got mad at him for taking a job at her school where she'll see more of it.
And it was only, but I don't think he was taking a job at the school. I think it was just a visit for showing off this the artifacts that he brought.
Okay. So
from his travels, when they're arriving, first off, too, we have an issue where the landing gear won't come down for the plane as they're landing. Somewhere that I guess appears to be on campus. So I guess the campus has a runway.
Yeah, and he's flying himself in like a propeller airplane. So why couldn't they have chosen a commercial airline to go? Yeah. But it just seems like he's trying to show off by proving that he could fly a plane, which or asshole. And then what? He deserved the crash for that. Sorry, no.
Yeah, but he wasn't alone. He did have his assistant with him, so he shouldn't have.
His assistant was the one that had his head on straight. Well, at least physically.
The landing gear's not coming down, and so they're all worried that they're not going to be able to land, and then they're running out of fuel, and so they can't like fly around until they figure it out. So of course Superboy comes to the rescue and pulls the landing gear in some of the greatest special effects I've ever seen in my life. And
it was terrible. I mean,
and then he comes back, and so it's funny, like, and I noticed this, it just like seemed like over the top here, but in a lot of Superman things, when he's wearing a suit, you know, when he changes back into his suit and he has a tie, he's always coming into a room or to a crowd and he's adjusting his tie. So I've decided that anytime I wear a tie and I enter a group of people, I'm just going to adjust my tie as I walk in so people might think that I'm Superboy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It was just terrible. And he's not even seems like he's that strong. I mean, I get that he's got like superhuman strength, but like there's part of the episode where he's like struggling, like doing like when he pulls a car out of a pond, like he's like, he can do it. Not like it's not effortless. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you can pull a car out of a pond. Wow. Like that's why they call you Superboy. Like,
well, maybe it's because he hasn't hit puberty yet. I'm just joking.
He has to be in college. He's not Sheldon. I mean, he's an adult in college. And I mean, speaking of, he's such a good flyer pilot. They could have done like a crash landing. He could have like circled the area a bunch of times, you know, to progressively get the plane lower and lower and lower to the point where he could then just sort of skid it onto like some grass or some shit like that. But if he was a true pilot, he'd be able to figure something out. I mean, he's good enough to fly. Oh, has too much of a problem. And by the way, who was telling him where to go? Because usually you have people who work at an airport who are like have headphones on and they're telling you where to go. Like
you have air traffic controllers unless Donald Trump fires you for being black or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that there was some kind of tower there that was controlling it, but I'm just confused by it. Just seemed like this was at the college and there was a runway at the college
somehow, and they're all waiting for him to come down. Like it's like a school-wide affair where they're just like hanging outside. Like,
I mean, people have visited, like when we were in college and we had like visitors coming to college, we didn't have like the whole school just waiting outside for them to come.
I mean, especially since it's not even everyone's subject. Like this school just must really love archaeology because like I don't remember like in college, like, oh dude, they brought in some rocks from ancient Russia. Everyone like, gets like, come on, like it's not a thing.
They cancel all classes that day just so you can wait outside for the visiting, archaeologist to come and, and we're all excited and, like it's Indiana Jones or something. But
yeah. For our Russian rocks, to come in, we're like, oh man, this is so cool. And then it turns out one of the Russian rocks has like blazing. If you touch it, you die, and because, fascination type of thing the Russians do. Anyway, it's
yeah, but so anyways, we get the thing, we get this kind of tension between Lana and her dad after they land because of Superboy. Then yeah, it's like she's like upset because I guess she hasn't seen him in 2 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Really long time. That's some bullshit there.
Yeah, he is a bad dad.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, it's not like he was off like, fighting in World War II or something for 2 years. It's just like
it's not something that like that's the thing too I always hate about these stories where it's like one man's following his dream, and like it's like the wife is always like depicted as like the bad guy because she's always like complaining about her husband and their children's father not being around. It's like, oh, she's nagging it. He's trying to follow his dream, bro. Let him follow his dream. It's just like, hey, bitch, maybe he should have thought about that before having a family and then like deciding which thing he's gonna do the most, because you can't dedicate all of your time to both things. You can only do the one thing. So maybe you should go make that decision before you're forced to make a decision between the two things. Maybe the movie could be about that. Maybe anyway. And so you got that from the Johnny Cash movie. Like his ex-wife was so horrible for daring to like want to be able to see him more than twice a year. Like, like shut up, bitch! Like let Johnny Cash do his thing. He's writing great songs, even though all the songs sound very similar. I'm sorry, I'm putting it out there. I know it's unpopular opinion. Johnny Cash is not that. Sorry, he's not. Like there's a few good songs, but like acting like everyone's like, like you have to say you like Johnny Cash. Like I know this is like a Hassan Stunlock thing. You have to like everyone has to pretend they like Johnny Cash in order to be cool. You're like, oh, you like Johnny? Yeah, I love Johnny Cash. Oh yeah, name one song. Well, the one that they played in the movie. Okay, yeah, sounds loud. No, and it's like, yeah, got you. And then
I'm just gonna. I just want to say for the audience that I really do like Johnny Cash a lot, so I'm not gonna comment here.
Totally fine. No, that's totally fine. But I'm just saying a lot. I gander probably about 90%. This is my own math. I mean, there's no testing here. I bet 90%. This is Trump math. Okay, 90%. I bet you 90% of people who say they like Johnny Cash just say it because like they have to say it to seem cool. Like you can't say I dislike Johnny Cash in public, like in civilized society, and then get away with it without people like smirking at you and like throwing cabbage at you or some shit. Right. Same thing with jazz. Like people like I like jazz personally.
People just carry cabbage around to throw at people.
Yes, they do. It's a new line. It's a new line of cabbage called Johnny Cabbage. It's specifically meant to be thrown at people who don't like Johnny Cash.
You just have it, like women carried in their purses or something. Like what's going on here?
That's why the purse always smells bad. It's this guy rotten cabbage. And, I'm just kidding. I actually don't hate Johnny. Just trying to make a bet. I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, but I'm not a fan at the same time. I just thought that was.
No, I went through a big Johnny Cash phase in high school, and then later on when like Walk the Line came out and stuff. So, but I do like him a lot, and I have like 3 or 4 Johnny Cash T-shirts. But anyways, so
yeah, sorry, that was like a quote Hassan Stunlock thing. I will say one more thing though about jazz. Jazz is very similar too. Like I like jazz, but like I bet you like so many. Like, oh, I really love jazz, bro. Okay, really? Yeah. Okay. Have you ever listened to a single full jazz album? Well, I listened to like a saxophone solo. No, not a solo, whole album. Did you listen to Miles Davis, "Bitches Brew," which is a double album that's over 2 hours fucking long of him playing bad notes on purpose? Did you listen to that? Did you? No, you didn't. You don't like jazz. Sorry. Case closed. You're forbidden to like jazz from now. Sorry, I wound up today for other reasons.
I'm like, do you need a tranquilizer?
I actually do. I wish I had some muscle relaxers right now. I could just pop a bunch. No, I'm just kidding. See how more animated about this than the fucking show we're reviewing.
So I mean, it does come down to the whole thing. Like when you're talking about women, though, it's like even to affect like the superhero based thing where it's like where you fridge a woman, where basically women in refrigerators. It's a literary trope coined by Gail Simone in 1999. I just had this off the top of my head, but then looked it up. So I was like, I'm not remembering this. Describing
what is the fridge? What does that mean?
I'll tell you in a minute. Women in refrigerators. It's a trend in fiction in which involves female characters facing disproportionate harm, such as death, maiming, or assault, to serve as a plot device to motivate male characters, an event colloquially known as fridging. Simone's original list of over 100 affected female characters published on the Women in Refrigerators website sparked discussion on sexism in pop culture and the comic book industry. The trope's influence extends beyond comics, with critiques of its presence in film and television franchises. Notably, author Catherine M. Valentine, inspired by Gwen Stacy's portrayal in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, wrote the Refrigerator monologues addressing the trope's impact on female characters and superhero narratives. So basically, it's where the female character in the story is basically just there to have something happen to her to prop up the superhero or the protagonist of the story. So yeah.
And they probably have a different version of that too, where the female superhero's the character. And then, because I noticed this when we watched Supergirl, the movie, the one from the 80s, One of the very first scenes of her on Earth is like a couple of guys trying to basically sexually assault her, and she beats them up. So like, there's that aspect too. It's like, oh, she's the bad bitch who beats up the guys who try to rape her. It's like, maybe just don't have a rape scene in the movie, like, you know, or an attempted rape scene in the movie. Like, you could do that, right? You could just not do that. And so I bet maybe she can make an article about that too, because that would be pretty.
So basically, the Gail Simone came up with this term. It was named after an incident in Green Lantern Volume 3, number 54 in 1994, written by Ron Mars. The story includes a scene in which the title hero, Kyle Rayner, comes home to his apartment to find that the villain Major Forrest had killed Rayner's girlfriend, Alexandra DeWitt, and stuffed her into her refrigerator. So, yeah.
So, kids or whoever is watching or listening to us, if you live in like the Toledo, Ohio area where I live, make sure that you get this book or article now, or, you know, because you're not going to be able to major in like gender studies pretty soon at University of Toledo. So try to grab the book, because they might ban the book too at some point. So get your hands on it before, you know, you can't.
Before it's too late. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I recommend that you just download the internet too. I'm just
download the whole and just go to that place in Australia that they say that what was the conspiracy theory that there's like it might not even be a theory at this point, that there's a whole data mining like just huge, like almost like not even a building, just like a huge like compound where apparently that's like where they harvest everyone's data. I don't even know if that makes any sense or not, but I remember a friend of mine kept saying that there is this place in Australia that's go there, sneak in somehow. I don't know how you do it. Go into the compound. You know, make sure that you do some recon first. Don't just go in there and do it. You gotta make sure you know what you're doing. Do that. Maybe
so the opinions of Sesame are not necessarily the opinions of All2ReelToo.
I don't even know if this place even exists. I'm not even sure if it's real. Try to distract like the guard if they have a guard. At this point, it might be like robot guards. I'm not really sure. I'm not even sure if this place is real or not. So just be careful in regards. Like take like an animal, like a kangaroo with you or something like that, or like a Wolverine. Not Wolverine. What do they got over there? It's not Wolverine. Tasmanian devil. Is that what they got? Still, no, it's not. Take one of those things, whatever they call it. Or dingo, maybe if you can find one. Or kangaroo would be ideal because they can box. So what I would do first, I would move to Australia for a little while, like be there for like at least a year, really, to really kind of get a feel for the land, the layout a little bit, make sure kind of know the surroundings around the compound as well, not just the compound itself, but you around, so you know people's like what time of the day they go in and out, who's usually doing what, that kind of thing. Get yourself a kangaroo, train it to box, because I mean, it already knows how to box, or train it to do it correctly, and then bring it with you. And then you have that distract the guard by like pretending to like do like wanting the box, and the guard's Australian, so he's not gonna like say no to a fight, right? He's Australian, so he's like, all right, come here, mate, or whatever. I don't do accents good, and then so like he has a cool boxing match with. Unfortunately, he will kill the kangaroo. That's the inevitable sacrifice. Kangaroo will die to a boxing match with a human. Sorry, it's just that I mean they got some pretty strong fists, but they're not that strong, right? So anyway.
I just want to reiterate that the views and opinions of Sesame are not necessarily the views of All2ReelToo or Cullen Park Productions. And we apologize to our audience if any of this, we're not really suggesting that you do any of this. Especially, we are sorry to our Australian listeners.
I do apologize. I don't know anything about you guys. I'm sorry. I did have a pen pal, an Australian pen pal, when I was in third grade, though. And we talked about video games a lot. And we talked about the different video games, because I think we were both really into video games because we were like 10 at the time. And so for like, I actually found some of these old letters a few years ago, and it's like literally like 4 straight letters. Mind you, we only did this a few times a year, right? So like almost all of our letters in that school year were just us talking about the differences between American and Australian video game systems, or like the game covers of like, oh, well, in Australia, they use this picture of the game cover. Oh, yeah, well, this week. Anyway.
It's pretty exciting.
Better days. Yes, it was very exciting. This is pre-internet. So,
so anyway, back to
No, I gotta finish. Sorry. So the kangaroo will get killed. I'm sorry. Don't try to build up too much of attachment to him, because he will die. And then during the fight, the death fight, then that's when you run in. You hit the guard over the head right after he's like victorious, like, aha, I killed the kangaroo, yay! Hit over the head, like not too heavy. You don't want to kill the guy. You don't want to give him a concussion, enough to knock him out. Then you since you've done recon, hopefully, as I told you to. If you haven't, then you're just going to get shot in the spot B. But if you've done your recon effectively, you will find a way to get in. Find the place where the data mines are, the computers, whatever. Just fucking torch the place. Do like a Fight Club in there. Don't try to finesse it. Don't try to. I'm going to take my card and I'm going to, my flash drive. Well, I got a flash drive, wouldn't work. Even a terabyte wouldn't work. Whatever. Just torch the place. Just torch it. Like, don't try to be fancy. Just get rid of it. You don't need the data anyway. Nobody needs their data. I'm sorry. Like, no one needs it. You know what you search for. You know what you downloaded before. Like, if you want to, you can just re-download it again. It's not that difficult. Like, I'm sorry that you lost like your 5,000 albums that you illegally downloaded throughout your life. Go download them the second time. You don't need it. So just torch the place. And then after said torching, again, All2ReelToo doesn't, endorse it. Then just flee the country. Like just leave the country. Obviously, I mean that's a given. Why would you stay? They're going to be looking. There's a manhunt for you at this point. Go. I would say. It's going to hurt a lot. I would say burn off your fingerprints, which again, that's going to be a bit. It's going to hurt a lot, but momentary pain, for them not being able to do the thumbprint on you. So I would also suggest there's this new technology where some people have made like almost very human like skin masks that you could wear, and it actually makes you look like you're a different person. Not like 100% accurate, but they're pretty accurate. So try to find someone, again, a private practitioner here. Don't go to a store or because they'll know who you are. Find someone who does this work independently off the books. Not sure how you find them, but you've done enough research already to torch the data mine place. I'm pretty sure you can find out who does this on the side, right? Get that guy or girl or lady or woman. Have them make the mask for you. Make sure it's, looks good. It's tight enough around your skin. Doesn't look loose and weird. I would suggest after that, maybe go to, I would say Greenland, but now since Greenland's got so much in the news about them, that's probably not good because you want to lay low. And Argentina is also pretty big because of all the anarcho-capitalist shit going on there. That's in the news a lot. I would say Bolivia. There's not a lot of news about Bolivia. I would say Bolivia, but like a country area, like not the main cities, like somewhere deep in the foresty, which means you're not going to be able to watch much TV. Probably you're not going to be able to go to movie theaters that often. It's going to be very simple life. But you did manage to torch the entire data mining system of the world, and now we're all free from the behemoth god named the internet. That was all off the fly, by the way. I did not write that.
Again, the views and expressions of Sesame are not necessarily supported by All2ReelToo or Cullen Park Productions or Michael E. Cullen II. And
especially Mike. By the way, so this is on my ADHD today. This whole rant literally started with me talking about how they always blame the woman being mad about like their husband or dad not spending enough time to them, and then it somehow found its way into torching the fake data mine center in Australia.
And I do want to emphasize, we never recommend harming a kangaroo.
No, that was the saddest part of my story. Even though I made it up, I was actually batting back tears of like thinking of this imaginary kangaroo getting killed in a fight.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry.
And to make up for all of this, I do vow in the future we will cover Kangaroo Jack the movie. Anyway, so
yes. That movie. By the way, that movie was supposed to be serious before it got greenlit to a fucking comedy.
So Superboy. So
interesting.
So we've got Professor Lang. He's bringing his artifacts and stuff, and he's got this like this one called the Jewel of Techacal that is like supposedly cursed, according to Gerald, his assistant. So we got an incident where it's in they put it in this little room at the college, and they've got all these artifacts and shit in there, and the Jewel's like doing some weird shit and stuff's falling from the room, and Clark's in there and he saves people on the fly, And that happens.
Nobody ever. That's what I love about these. Like you mentioned too earlier, how nobody ever like realizes like, oh, my friend just left, and now suddenly Superboy's here. Like like you never make the connection. Like that might be him. Like I mean, how many times do we have to go through this? And like, by the way, when they did that thing, the guy's like, oh, don't worry, it was just a tornado. Wait, a tornado just appeared and disappeared within a few seconds. What are you talking about? Yeah, we've been hearing about tornadoes here all week, okay? But like a tornado doesn't just show up next to your window and then just leaves, and it only does damage to your office. Like what?
I often invite tornadoes over for tea, and we hang out, drink, and wait, no,
That's a good band name. Tornadoes. Invite tornadoes for tea.
So that happens, and then later I'm probably skipping over a bunch of shit, but whatever. So anyways, it ends up like hurting the professor. He's getting really sick, and he's going to he's in the hospital, and we don't know what's wrong with him. And Gerald is the smart one, so he's like, yeah, it's the fucking curse.
We all know that. I mean, come on.
And somehow we realize that the only way to solve the curse is to put the jewel back where you got it from, and you should have left it alone anyways. Because archaeology is sometimes just an excuse to steal and culturally appropriate people's belongings and then put them in museums where they shouldn't be.
Okay.
I'm not of the belief that Indiana Jones has, where it's like that should be in a museum. No, it shouldn't. It should stay where with its people, and But I do believe that another thief shouldn't take it and then sell it on the black market, like we have with Lex here. Scott Wells sadly passed away about 10 years ago. And I have nothing. Seems like a nice enough guy. Probably from what I've read of his life. But man, he's not menacing. He's not anything. He's just really not a great Lex Luthor, sadly. But
he's kind of like childish a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like,
they steal the jewel, and then they're going off in their car. Not in his car, but in his in Leo, his little manservant's car. Not manservant, his sidekick. And they're in this convertible driving down the road with their jewel. And so then it's up to Superboy. Superboy goes off, and there's like this action sequence where there's a car chase with some cops and Superman and Lex and Leo, and they end up in a little creek, and Superman pulls them out and saves them, but also gets the jewel back and takes it back to where it belongs. And then Professor Lang gets better, and everybody's happy.
Yay! Except for Lex. And then it's like a little heartwarming scene between Lana and her dad, and and it's like, oh, I love you, blah blah blah, and it's the most predictable episode ever. And then after that, right wing federal agents come in. They start removing the books that they think is not good for the school. They got order from the executive order from the presidency to remove any woke or DEI books from the school libraries. That's how it actually is. That was
because actually in 1988 we had
Oh, that's right. We were more progressive. Had more rights. 1988 than 2000. Yeah, you're right.
We had more rights under Reagan and Bush Senior than we do.
Sorry, I forgot about the timeline we live in. That we live in the worst timeline. Yes, 1988. 88.
Yep.
30 years ago.
During the final year of Ronald Reagan.
His presidency and not life, his presidency.
Oh, yeah.
And then into Bush 1, and but that's what happens. Lexi, our boy Lexi here, I don't know, like you said, he there was one weird thing about, because that jewel kind of fucked with Superboy a little bit too, but it didn't do anything to Lex. So did they ever? I want to know if they ever explained why. Is it just because he's evil and it doesn't like hurt evil people or something like that? Like, never really explained. Maybe they will later on.
I'm highly doubting they will.
Probably not.
Especially since they aired all the episodes out of order,
which is so stupid. Yeah, exactly. They do that with a lot of shows we've watched. Actually, they've done that with I can't remember them all now, but there was at least 3 or 4 shows we've reviewed where they've done that, where they showed the pilot.
They did it a lot with shows like, I mean, that's how like shows that didn't last long got fucked up because that like Firefly, for example, that Fox fucked it up and they aired like that show way out of order. And so you would have like people being introduced that were in a previous episode and you're just like, what the fuck? You know? Yeah. Anyways, any other thoughts here about Superboy episode, so season 1, episode 1, the Jewel of Techacal?
I do have one thought. Can I play and sing an improvised song about Superboy in the show we just watched?
Yes. I'm going to preemptively say that the views in this song are not necessarily the views of All2ReelToo or Cullen Park Productions. I don't know what the song's about, but I'm just saying that ahead of time.
Okay, just give me a second. I get my acoustic over here, can hear better. Oh, on a tune, makes it even better. All right, hold on. Oh, right there. That's where it is.
That's where it's at.
Get yourself a kangaroo, teach it to box. Go to the data mining place and torch it. Again, this All2ReelToo does not necessarily endorse Sesame's Mania. Okay, edit this part off.
This is the greatest song ever written.
It is. Oh, there we go. So Superboy and Lex Luthor were best friends till they had a falling out over a boxing kangaroo. Superboy wanted as a pet, but Lex Luthor wanted to eat the meat, or sell the meat, or eat the meat, or make the meat, or beat the meats. Wait, what? And then Australia teaching box the dart at data mining place. I feel sorry for that data mining guard. He's gonna get hit pretty hard with the kangaroo punch. He actually gonna cause a lot of damage to his face. The good thing Australia universal healthcare. You don't have to pay a whole lot for treatment for your injuries. Like every other country in the world has some form of universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. Universal healthcare.
Is that everything?
Yes.
That was beautiful. I didn't cry.
You did not cry? That's good.
But I thought about it.
Good. I mean, I was hoping you'd cry to that song.
Yes, it is a very, very sad song, but I no longer have emotions, so I didn't cry.
Me too. My emotions have been purposely thrown away into the back of my brain in order to mentally survive this hellscape in 2025. And that they're gonna... I have no idea what I'm trying to say. I can't improvise, okay? I can't.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. Okay.
I can improvise playing guitar, but I can't improvise lyrics on the spot. Come on. What do you expect of me?
No,
Nothing. Your idea was my...
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay.
So,
our listeners are actually good at playing guitar, and I think I ruined it for them by playing very crappily. Oh well,
it's okay.
Fine.
It's okay. We just talked about a really boring episode of a TV series, but made it more enjoyable. So, and we've been talking for like almost 3 times as long as the episode. So,
here's some Korn, rip off Korn riff, but it's not really them, but like a riff that they would play. And I'm gonna play it on this stupid little tiny piece of shit acoustic. It's not that bad, but it's a tiny, very small acoustic guitar. It's like meant for like children. It was my niece's that she bought like 8 years ago, but never really played. So I just kind of with her permission, because I care about that kind. I don't just take things, like the government takes things like human rights for people. Like I don't do that. So I ask permission. Although it would be weird to ask someone to like remove their human rights because and they said yes, would that then count as consent? Because how does that make any sense, right? But that's a philosophical quandary. Anyway, but like, so like, I've been working on this lately with my electric guitar to have down tuned to like a low B or low A or some shit. I don't know. But I'm going to play it on here. Tell me if this does not sound like what you would hear from a Korn song. Actually, this might be a Korn riff. I don't know. I haven't listened to anything past their fourth album that came out in 1999. So that's, a lot of time. But I'm thinking this sounds like a Korn riff. Can't you just imagine it being really low? Especially that part. They always used to do that kind of thing. Anyway, why am I doing music theory now? Sorry. You can just end it. Like, in the middle of me playing if you want.
I'm like, I'm just waiting for you to tell me you're done. And
done. I'm just playing. I'm done. Yeah.
So folks, if you're still with us, thanks for listening. Be sure to go to all2reeltoo.com and check out our website. We got links to our social media. We got a TeePublic. You can buy some merch there. We got a Patreon. Patreon is good. It can help support the show. Spread the word. Okay, Hummingbird. And
but you can make a T-shirt idea of the boxing kangaroo against like a guard of like a Alcatraz kind of like a place like that. You should try that.
Yeah, email me at mike@cohenpark.com if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, if it's not just wants to see it.
Yeah. Also, folks, be good to each other.
Yes. Yes.
Kind, be caring, be loving.
Yep.
Free Palestine. Trans lives are human lives.
Trans lives are human lives.
No human is illegal.
Human is illegal.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Fuck the oligarchy.
Fuck the oligarchy.
I love you.
I love you.
Sesame loves you.
Sesame loves you.
The dead kangaroo loves you.
The dead kangaroo. And my made-up story loves you, and I still feel sad that I killed him in my story.
And until next time, folks. Bye-bye!
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.
All right, here we go.
New Phineas and Ferb is here.
We're back, baby.
For 104 more days
I know what we're gonna do today.
of summer vacation.
I am ready for summer shenanigans. Let's do it. Oh, yeah.
All right. We're gonna bust Phineas and Ferb once and for all.
Are we gonna do this again?
New inventions, shenanigans, innators, adventures, and songs.
Brand new summer vacation.
New Phineas and Ferb starts June 5th on Disney Channel and next day on Disney Plus. On DisneyPlus.Disney.com.